apartment. This is season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah, this is crud. I'm sure I had.
Oh, hang on. What are we doing here? Okay, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Okay, that gaming is for friends.
I thought this music was so epic.
We all like talking about gaming. The only thing that I disliked about the old game. There are so many different conversations started by gaming.
Oh, I forgot. I have you.
This could be anything. Okay, walk in that green goo. Oh, nope. That's a no. Anything Gaming Podcast. Hi, welcome to Anything Gaming. I pressed all the wrong buttons at the start, so if you got that bit, that was fun. We are talking about rail shooters, and I brought me little railgun shooters too, just to surprise Woody.
Oh, I didn't know we could do that. I got a super scope somewhere in there.
I know. That's why I didn't tell you before we went live, so I could outdo you for once. I've been sitting here really quiet and trying to go, yeah.
Well, no, I'm glad you did, though. I'm glad you did, because, I mean, that's like one of the trademarks of rail shooters is just like cool. Can I see them again?
They're the Mad Bullets from the Nintendo Switch. It's like one of the worst rail shooters I've ever played, and I'll speak about it in depth later on. But
I want it. And I want Nice.
Yeah.
Those are cool. I like them. Well, actually, it's funny. Now, you know how they're, what's the colors there? Pink and blue or something like that?
Yeah. It's because it's kind of meant to match the Nintendo Switch handles.
So, the original NES gun was gray.
Yeah.
But later on, it was orange. And the reason why they did that is because they didn't want to look too much like a real gun. Because a darker shade, that kind of looks like a gun. But if it was a bright color, then it's clearly a toy. Makes me wonder if those have the same thing to them. You got to do that just to get past that little part of it.
Well, this game here was a 2-player game. And obviously what happens is in the back of these, you put your Nintendo Switch controllers in there. And then it uses the motion control to be able to work out how it works on the TV and whatnot. And it's absolutely horrendously bad. Every time you finish a level, you have to recalibrate because the motion controls have just gone all out of whack. It was the worst game I've ever bought in my life.
Good concept, horrible execution.
Well, I think it was, I got a funny feeling that it came out. Now, you can probably tell me this. It came out for the Wii U, this game. And the Wii U, I think, had a hardware gun.
If it did, okay, so if the Wii U did have a hardware gun, it was probably similar to the Link's crossbow training. It wasn't even a gun. It was more like a plastic shell that you'd, stick the Wii remote in the top there, and boom, now it's a... And it worked great. Link's crossbow training, very underrated, good rail shooter. More challenge-based, but quite good, and it had that to it. So if it was for the Wii U...
Yeah, that's the exact game. That's the gun that I'm talking about. Where when they put it on this, they put it upright in the back of the gun, and so then it didn't really sense the TV properly. There was a whole lot of issues. Anyway, I said that... Yeah. It was a shame. But it was a 2-player game, so I got it to play with my kid, and then all of a sudden we're both I think we played a half a level and we were so angry with it that we never talked about it ever again. But we walk around the house and shoot each other with these guns, fake guns for fun. So
there you go. Yeah. You got your money's worth out of that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I mean, okay, that's... It's nice about that, but rail shooters have been around for a long time. I mean, when I think rail shooters, there's 3 kinds of rail shooters. Mm-hmm. There's the rail shooter where it's not even just a rail; you're just standing there. Screens may change, but you don't move with them. Now, those are the old games like Duck Hunt. You ever played either Duck Hunt or Hogan's Alley?
Every gamer that had a friend with a Nintendo, I think it came with a Nintendo console to start with over here. But everyone's had a turn of Duck Hunt at least once in their life if they're over the age of 30.
I know. If it was your introduction to... That was the first game you would play that you didn't use a standard controller.
Mm-hmm.
Before, and even to this day, plenty of games don't use a standard controller, but this was the first one where it's like,
I don't know. Well, I'm not sure. Let me just argue with you for a moment. Did Atari had a plethora of different controllers? Did they have a gun?
I don't think Atari did, but it would be not remiss to mention some of the second gen consoles that did have a gun, like I don't know if it was called a Telestar or a TriStar, but it was this. It almost looked like a triangle, and like the game cartridge was also a triangle, and you snapped it on top. One side had a controller that was it wasn't. It was the controller. It was on the console itself.
All right.
One side was a steering wheel with a shifter, and then on the third side was the hookup for the gun, and it's like this long rifle.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
And it looks like a rifle would look that color, and it's like a.
When is that the mini version of that coming out? Like that's what we need in 2025.
And it should be noted though that the graphics for that literally just a black space, white dot, shoot the white dot. That's what it is. But you got this business rifle to do it with.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. But I would say that Duck Hunt brought gun games to the home console. That's the game that when I think of games that brought games to the home console, I think Duck Hunt instantly. That was probably for the first wave anyway of games that kind of had a gun and all that kind of thing.
Later on after that, you did start seeing, now that's just single screen, but now it was truly becoming a real shooter because now you're moving to the right.
Oh.
Or maybe even sometimes down, but still kind of in that space. The games that popped to me of that era that did that was Lethal and Enforcers. A really cool game. Like, you were a cop, you fought bank robbers. They'd hook up, shoot you. You'd have to shoot them first, and you move left and right, and sometimes you'd be driving. It was all like FMV sprites, not unsimilar to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of graphics to it.
But I think they also did they introduce the whole idea of having a person you're not meant to shoot?
Yes.
Yes.
That would happen. You'd have a bank hostage like, help me. And if you shoot them, you lose some health.
Yeah. Because that's always a nice take on them, because otherwise you could just unload bullets everywhere and who cares if you hit whatever.
Right. And you did a lot of that back in the day. I can't tell you how many times I would play like Duck Hunt or Hogan's Alley and just bang, 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 hope you get something. But now you can't do that. Now you really got to try hard. And hope your gun works well. I mean, and it should be noted that a lot of these games, I can speak of this firsthand, a lot of these controllers are like 30 plus years old. They're not the best. Sometimes they don't really work too well at all.
Yeah.
But that problem was kind of a lot back then too. But occasionally you have a good controller that would be able to make all those cool moves. Lethal Enforcers, of course, came from the arcade first, though. And that was the time where I think the arcade rail shooter was starting to really... Because now it was cool. Now you had the gun right there. There was usually two guns.
And they had the big-ass gun, too. Like, it was like a proper, like, gun.
It felt. Yeah. It was a hunk of metal in your hand.
Yeah, like, you were excited to pick that up. It was the only chance for us in Australia to hold a gun outside of in Australia, so...
And then just to top it off, going from Lethal Enforcers was one of my favorite movie to video game adaptations of all time. Simple, but Terminator 2, the arcade game, where you have this machine gun, this big honking machine. Well, then when you shot it, it would shake. One of the first instances of rumble technology to it. And it'd be the same thing. You just move to the left, shooting at the various Terminators and other Skynet monstrosities.
I think that became 2-player after a while as well, didn't it? So you could play with your mate.
Oh yeah. Oh, and if you did that, it was just like there wasn't a peaceful moment on the screen once that happened. Everyone was shooting everybody. It was great.
Yeah, that. Because I remember going to see the movie, and then you come out and you go and play that game, and it was just like, this is life.
Now some games, while good, were just a little. You ever play a really ridiculous rail shooter? Like, have you ever played a rail shooter that's just like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know.
No, not that comes to mind.
Oh, okay, get this. Okay, here's the setting. Now, it's the future, and the evil oppressive government has banned all forms of music. But you are right, yes. But you are a freedom fighter, and guess who is helping you take the music back?
Sonic.
Aerosmith frontman Steven Taylor.
Oh, really?
All right. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's on board with this. He's helping you.
Did they have Aerosmith music through the game?
Oh yeah. Revolution X. It was a rail shooter, and you shot CDs at all these like SWAT government
from
police
your guitar, like, or is it?
No. It was it looked like the kind of gun that would shoot a CD.
Okay, so they,
you know what I mean, but it still was a gun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it had like a little disc thing, and you shoot CDs, and it was like a machine gun kind of too. It was just still one of the funniest things I ever played. It was just so ridiculous. And like the FMV sequences, he's like standing like there, says, "You got the music that can free the people." And even at the age of like 12, I was like, "Oh my god,
I've got to play this."
Yeah, like I need all the quarters I can get because I got to free Steven Taylor so we can like reunite with Aerosmith. Oh. And see the Armageddon theme song hadn't come out yet, so we had to rescue him.
Did you ever okay, this is a side question without notice. Did you ever finish one of these games to rescue Steven Tyler or to free the Terminators? I've never finished an arcade game. I don't know. I want to speak to someone that's actually finished an arcade. Are they possible to finish?
I've never finished them, but I have finished later on with rail shooters. You start to get rail shooters that actually had like levels that you could pick. Area 51, damn good rail shooter.
Right.
And you would choose, like, I think it was like 4 of them. I think if you beat all 4 of them, it unlocks something else. I don't know. I never beat all 4 of them, but I have completed levels like that in rail shooters. So I don't think it's I don't think it's impossible. You just better have money on you.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean.
Well,
I didn't want to spend $60 just to be at Area 51.
Okay, I'm going to take you to the future now. We'll jump back to the past in a moment. But
all right.
I went to an arcade like 2 years ago now, and they had like a rail shooter. The rail shooter was 3D, but the gun that you were shooting actually was a water gun. So it was shooting water at the screen. And the screen must have had like a sensor on it to actually, and you were shooting dinosaurs with these big water pistols. It was the most fun game I've ever played in the last, 5 years. It was so great because you could all this water and stuff going everywhere. There was 4 guns. So me and all my kids are like there, my wife shooting all this water at the screen, trying to get through this rail shooter. It was, But
I mean, that sounds really cool. It sounds like it harkens back to like the old carnival days, where like you would have. I mean, that's an influence for the rail shooters. I mean, you'd have the one where you actually have to shoot literal water to explode the balloon on top, or there would be a legit shooting gallery, stuff like that. Sounds really cool.
It was pretty cool, but it had like pixelated kind of old school graphics on the TV, so it kind of had this old vibe, but this new vibe. But like it was pretty cool. Anyway, let's go back to the future.
Oh, back to the no. So like Area 51 and all that, it's kind of funny. Rail shooters were still cool, but I think they peaked there because rail shooters kind of went away a little once the arcades went away. There were still some really good rail shooters coming out. One of my favorite ones was the Crisis series. There was the Time Crisis game,
and it came onto PlayStation. It was kind of.
It did. Yep.
Did it launch with PlayStation, or it was towards the start of the PlayStation?
No. It would have been. I think it would have been PS2. It was PS2. I don't think.
I thought it was PS1. Maybe. I'm sure.
The first one may have.
Let me Google.
But if it did, it wasn't at first because PS1 came out in '95, and I don't think Time Crisis was there yet.
Time Crisis, the first one came out in. It came out in 1995.
Came out in 1995. like worldwide, or just
platforms are PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3.
Well, it makes sense they would have re-released it.
Yeah.
Kind of hope they do again.
Well, they've got Time Crisis 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, and also don't forget Crisis Zone.
And Time Crisis actually released on iOS.
Really?
Yeah, and I think kind of that's maybe where these games could probably go to, because you just kind of tap the screen, I guess, where you want to shoot. It would be way more. It wouldn't have that peripheral of the gun and that whole gun sensation, but it's probably a bit better than like playing a shooter game where you have to actually walk through and use the controls.
That's one thing I liked about Time Crisis is it gave you more control on the person that you are controlling with the cover mechanic. You know, it gave it that little sense of urgency.
And also, I remember you used to shake the gun left or right to move a bit as well. Is that right, or am I thinking? Was that crime?
Could be. I mean, well, okay. I know with Crisis Zone, the gimmick with Crisis Zone is that you're a like SWAT officer, so you always have the shield.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing you're really ducking behind that shield at all times. As far as moving like that, I'm not quite sure, honestly.
Time Crisis was one of the reasons I wanted a PlayStation. It really, like you said, like just before Time Crisis, probably the couple of years leading up to that, Duck Hunt had kind of done its dash, and all these rail shooters had kind of fallen away and started dying. And then all of a sudden Time Crisis came and everyone was back in love with these games, because I think they had improved the hardware as well. Like the gun in Time Crisis was actually good. Like when you felt like you were shooting top left, you were shooting top left, you know? It wasn't like a hope and see kind of thing. It was really quite good like that. Couldn't get enough of Time Crisis.
Well, now Time Crisis is made by Namco, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Another shooting game that was also Namco created was Point Blank.
Oh, okay.
You ever hear of that one? Whereas Time Crisis is all serious, Point Blank was a very goofy game.
Yeah.
You know, with all it was all mini games is everything that was based off with the shooting on that. It was a cartoonish, like shoot balloons, shoot clay pigeons, things like that. But it was a really, really fun game. But I don't think it ever came out on the arcade. I think it was just PS2.
Yeah, that sounds like something they would have done. They were very arcade orientated, Namco. So like Time Crisis was pretty big in the arcades as well, as when I can remember to it. Yeah. So they did a lot of, I think, racing games, and they've Tekken, obviously, Pac-Man, Galactica, or Galactic.
They got
and
Galaga.
Galaga.
And, Galaga.
Yeah. Ridge Racer, Ace Combat. They've got most of them obviously linked up with the PlayStation. Being a Japanese company, I guess you have to choose Nintendo or PlayStation. So,
I mean, they released Tekken for all that, but they're strong with the rail shooters. Another company that was always really strong with rail shooters was Sega.
Did
they
have a gun?
Did the Sega? Oh yeah. I have one. I could have shown you if I knew we were going to be doing that. Not only did they have a gun, but the Master System also had a gun. Master System shooting game, shooting gallery, a lot like Point Blank, in the fact that it was a very lighthearted, cartoony, shooty game. Right. And actually, the Master System gun's cool. Like it looks more like just like a elongated letter, like uppercase T.
Yeah,
it's very blocky looking, but like it's a cool thing. And I actually, believe it or not, my gun works well on the Master System. You'd think that one would probably be the one that didn't work, but it's pretty good, which is why I keep it wrapped up. I don't want it to break or anything like that.
Okay, technical question. How did the Nintendo gun and the Sega guns used to work at the start? Like, what were they using light to reflect off the TV, or like, I don't understand how they were actually.
Here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Play Duck Hunt. Now, if you press the trigger, you'll notice that the screen goes black. It's so quick you might not notice it, but the screen does go black. If you look for it, you see it go black, except for a rectangle of what you are trying to hit. That is white. What the gun does is it's pointed at the TV and it's looking for the light. If it's head on to the light, that means it's head on with the target on TV. It registers and you shoot the enemy, which is why people use the light bulb trick where they just point the gun at a bright light. Shit, it always registers.
Yeah. And did the Sega one do the same thing, or?
Yep. Okay. Eventually, there started being other ways to do it. Super Scope for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Actually, very similar to what the Wii would do. It had a little sensor that you would put into. I think you actually put into port 2 on the Super Nintendo.
Right.
And then you'd have the Super Scope on your shoulder, wireless, and but it sucked up. I think it sucked C batteries or something like that. It was stupid. Okay. And using that, then it would detect. Because of that, before we even started playing, you had to calibrate it.
Mm-hmm.
It tell you point to the center of the target and shoot, and that's how it calibrated for you.
Because I don't know if the Time Crisis one do a similar type of thing as well.
No, honestly, by then, especially since the game was 3D, I think somehow it just the technology was there a little better at that point.
Because
it doesn't use light gun like that. That stuff was only in the 8-bit era. Yeah. So that's why they called it a light gun.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I remember this was leading somewhere. I was taking you on a journey. I remember playing with the PlayStation 3 and the move sticks, and you'd put them in the end of your guns, and then it worked in reverse almost. Like it had a camera below the TV, which would sense where your light gun or the move, remember those PlayStation move sticks with the big glowing round balls on the end?
What?
Yeah.
I always regret not getting them. I should have. If I ever come across them, I don't know if they're compatible with the PS5, but I'd still pick them up.
No, I don't think so. But because the PlayStation 5 controller's got so much in it, but these move sticks, you just have like a under the TV, have like a camera. Then you'd move the move sticks around, and then you could shoot, and it picked it up basically in reverse of how the original ones worked. And so a lot of the PlayStation 3, I think PlayStation 4 had the move sticks as well. They worked really, really quite well. And I thought in the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 era, we'd probably see another revitalization of the rail shooter, but it didn't really work out as well as you were kind of thinking. So.
Well, because I think, especially with PS3, the Wii was doing its thing, so motion control was the big thing. And there were a lot, because of that, there were actually quite a bit of rail shooters for the Wii. They weren't all hot. Going back to Link's Crossbow Train, that was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. I just think that the other companies were a little skittish to get into actual peripheral kind of thing going with their systems. Which is a shame, though, because rail shooters are still a lot of fun, especially multiplayer. But here's a question I have for you.
Yeah. Can
you play rail shooters multiplayer online with other people and have a good time with it? Because
no.
Part of the allure, especially with the arcade, was the fact that the person was right next to you shooting. And you feel like an army of two at that point. It's like just both of you shooting, and that's something would be lost if you did online gameplay with that. They're doing it over there, but they're not with you, so it's like
And then any amount of lag would just suck incredibly hard.
Kill it, yeah.
So no, I don't think that would work out nearly as good as it probably should. I don't know, unless you had like a thing where someone was controlling the cart and the other guy was controlling the gun, then maybe. Well,
speaking of that, there is one game. It's a cool rail shooter because it combines two genres. Have you ever heard of Lucky and Wild?
No.
It's a rail shooter / driving game, similar to like Outrun.
Okay.
What it is player one drives you got the wheel in this hand, and you got a gun in this hand.
Yeah.
Player 2 doesn't drive, but they have their own gun too, and because that's the thing, you're trying to drive, stop the bad guys, but you're driving.
Yeah.
To stop. So even though you're still driving around, it's still a rail shooter, and the fact that enemies are coming on the screen, you've got to shoot them off. And the fact that it's arcade, so they do put you in a car with guns, so just to make it even cooler.
Yeah, fair enough. I remember a few car games, and it's still something that happens a bit in, like Call of Duty does it from time to time, where they'll give you a scene in a game that is just like a car going somewhere and you've only got control of a gun, or you're in a helicopter and you've only got control of the gun, which basically is a throwback to the rail shooters.
That actually happened to me. I was playing Halo recently, and you get in the helicopter, but you got the gun, and you're right. It's funny how even to this day, all these first-person shooters that are just like machines now, they'll occasionally throw in the little throwbacks to the old school rail shooters that paved the way for that.
Yeah, and I like that. I believe, to the almighty question, why are rail shooters not so popular as they were back in the day? I believe it was that they became popular because that was the best way to. We didn't have the ability back then to make a 3D shooter that could run on a lot of consoles or a lot of things really nicely, seamlessly, and people have control of the camera and the gun. Like, we just didn't have the ability back then. And as it's evolved now, like if I gave my kids a rail shooter, they go, "Oh, this is so boring. I have to wait for it to load the next scene."
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's just that we've evolved to a point where everyone can move everything. We can do all these different things in games. We've got so much processing power that rail shooters were kind of like, basically because of their time, they were great back then because they showed off the full what a console could do, and we kind of enjoyed it because that's all we had, more so than being the best of it, what we want. Maybe I wonder if there was 3D games back then, if rail shooters would have been as popular.
Well, I mean, and the 3D rail shooters did come out, like, once again, even as good as first-person shooters were, even back in the mid-90s, and you had some good ones. You had Doom, you had Duke Nukem, you had Quake. They didn't have the same like bombast as the rail shooters did. I mean, play Quake and then play House of the Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, Quake, of course, is meteor. You can move around, all that stuff. But for balls to all action, House of the Dead just brought it. It was just cool and bloody and gory, and because
they could load up on that stuff because they knew that the machine could process it. They could do all the work.
What I'm always curious about, though, in fact, this might be a long one, so. People have always looked to video games kind of like a scapegoat for violence.
Yes.
Like people playing these violent games and, they're going to turn them into robotic, sociopathic monsters and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I always worry that, like, you see these people and they're going to see kids at the arcade, and use that against, these games in the first place. But just are fun, mindless games. You know what I mean? That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's clearly just a video game. So I always think to myself that maybe one of the reasons why rail shooters went to the wayside was that the peripheral there, the gun, kind of went to the wayside as well. Even what you said there, the PlayStation Move controller that you used for Killzone. Was it Killzone or was it a different game?
Yeah, it was Killzone. Yeah.
It looks like a toy, right? The PlayStation Move, even when you have the gun going, it looks like clearly a PlayStation Move peripheral. It doesn't look like a gun.
Oh, okay. Just to realize why I bought that gun, I'll just tell you a little story. My friend broke my thumb, and I couldn't play anything because obviously you need thumbs to control every game, basically. So I was like, oh, if I buy that, I can use the gun because this thumb can still do the walk in that game. You can walk with this me right hand, but my left hand just has to do the pump action bit. It doesn't have. It has to hold the gun, so I can rest it in there. I can still walk through the game. I can still play the game. So that saved my gaming insanity for a space of a month there, where I had a broken thumb. I was just playing this Killzone with this gun. But as soon as my thumb healed up, I basically got rid of the gun and never played it again. So, yeah,
that's interesting though. It helped you out at least.
Yeah, it got me through. But yeah,
but hey, you need something to get you through that.
Well, okay. Looking into the future, I'll just change tack a little bit. Do you think that VR is going to bring back the rail shooter? Like, it could be. I see that could be something that maybe, because you've already got the peripherals in your hand. Like,
oh yeah, like there's plenty. Like there is a little one on Meta World, is what it's called. There already is a little shooting. It's not super complicated, but yeah, like it's just like a little rail shooting thing. It's not like a moving around shooter.
Yeah,
it's just like in that spot, things move around, and you shoot it as you go, and it's fun. It's fine. It's actually quite enjoyable.
Well, I think what I'm thinking is that while people are getting used to that whole moving in VR headspace, rail shooters are probably a great introduction to people to understand how that space is moving around them, and kind of maybe a little bit less hectic than moving in that space for like newbies getting into the VR space, I'm talking. And then you can just drop that and go and play some 3D game and be happy ever after. But like, it might be a good introduction type tool.
No, absolutely. It seems to me like, I bet you, like, I've never actually sought out rail shooters on any of the VRs, but they got to be there. I'll make that claim right now without even checking it. You know, I'm that confident. There's got to be, like some rail, like some. I mean, honest to God, I don't mean like super hot or anything like that, which is more of like just like a more or less a first-person shooter. I'm talking like an honest to goodness rail shooter.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's got to be rail shooters there. They're, I don't know, they're a strange kind of part of the gaming landscape when you think back. And I don't even think that if I told my kids that these, like, Time Crisis was probably the number one selling game, and Duck Hunt was probably the number one selling game back in its day almost, or in the top 10 at least. If I told my kids about that, they would not believe me. No young person in the world would believe that these games were so popular. They would think that they're so dumb. You know what I mean?
No, it's just they were just you knew someone who always had an NES zapper ready to go, or the Master System zapper ready to go. Someone who had a gun to shoot things with.
Yeah.
If you didn't yourself.
And okay. Like in America, I would imagine that if they didn't invent these, there'd probably be more kids playing with real guns shooting cans instead of a rail shooter.
I mean, it's always there, you know. I'm not gonna front. I had a BB gun once. I had a slingshot. You know what I mean? Like I didn't go around like shooting friggin' like. There were a couple instances, nothing major, nothing proven by the police, and I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations have like gone up since then.
Yeah,
don't worry, guys.
Fine.
But yeah, no. Admittedly, like I would say it scratched that itch. You know, man, when you're playing that T2, when that rumble's going, and you're just shooting whatever, you know, youthful testosterone is pumping through my brains at the age of 11. It's being burnt on that.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder if these rail shooters also died a bit because people just want one controller.
Yeah, I mean, the one controller will never go away. Even with the Switch, that makes one controller. You know, it's just the standard way you do things. And as you said before, I mean, look at all the first-person shooters shooters that are out nowadays. That's rail shooters with more freedom. More freedom with more options, more things to do. To just move to one side or move forward and just shoot everything in sight.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of hurt like the essence of the rail shooter. But at the same time, I mean, I just don't see the rail shooters are always going to be one of those evergreen genres that it won't always make all the money. You're not going to make like a rail shooter that's going to make just insane money. But there'll always be a new, even if it's just shovelware on the VR or whatever, they'll always be there. The question is, will the peripherals to go with these be there? Because you want to use a gun. I would love to have an honest to goodness zapper looking PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series gun. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, going back to Xbox, I don't think I mentioned this, but I had the Xbox Kinect, and I'm pretty sure there was a rail shooter on that, but we used
there was, yeah.
And that was potentially the worst rail shooter besides Bad Bullets or whatever that other crappy game was I talked about.
Wasn't it on Kinect Adventures? Mm-hmm. Wasn't it like a mini game on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! After rafting for like halfway down, who knows what. The rafting part was fun, and then you get to the stop point where you had to go and do some other little activity, and you never knew how bad that was going to be. That other activity was terrible. They tend to have like everyone loved the rafting, but like the rafting was not even half a game. It was just you and all your mates standing really close to each other and pretending to jump at the same time, and only really one person had to jump. But yeah, I miss my Kinect so badly. It was one of the things that I liked the Kinect on Xbox One. We should talk just solely about Xbox One and the launch of Kinect 2 or 1. Was it Xbox One Kinect?
Well, no. But no. Well, see, Kinect did release for the 360.
Yeah. I got that one.
Like, but it was like first release, and it was like end of 360 because 360 had a long life cycle.
Oh yeah.
And it was still at the end of that.
Yeah, it was right up the end of that, and then they released the Xbox One with it was part of buying an Xbox One was the Kinect, and it was a downfall of Xbox One. It just killed Microsoft's any chance of having any good sales was the release. But I liked it. I liked it in some ways because it was, if anyone remembers this, because everyone had an Xbox with the Kinect, you could do this setting on your Xbox One where it would recognize you. If you sat down in front of the TV, it would go, okay, there's Ant. Well, yeah, he's here. Okay, log him into his account. And that was it. I loved that. Like, nothing else was good about it, but that was fantastic.
That sounds cool. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I did get a Kinect down the road, but by the time I got my Kinect, first off, it was free. I didn't pay for it at all, but I don't know even how I got the Kinect thing. It could have just been in a lot I bought for something else. But I never used it. I never even tried it. It was for 360, not the Xbox One, and at that point, my Xbox One was the system I had, so I never even tried to. I never bothered to hook up my 360 and try it out. I could. I still have it somewhere. I just never really gave it a go.
Okay, on the other side, they were really popular with game developers because they tracked people's motion really, really well. So if you were like an indie dev, you could quite easily hook up this Kinect to your PC, and then you could animate your characters in your game by you just dancing around, and the Kinect would pick up all the motions, and because it had a little motor in the Kinect, so it would follow you. If you jumped high enough, it would follow you up and down. It would follow you from side to side. It would center you each time. So it did really, really well at tracking motion. That like game developers, I think they actually sell for a fair bit of cash because little indie studios were getting these Kinects just so they could use them to make little games with them and stuff and track that. Now you have to go out and buy like better cameras and stuff like that. But the Kinect did it so wonderful at the time. Anyway, that was my little Kinect rant.
No, no. I mean, I did play Kinect. My friend had it. Once Upon a Monster. I still think it's the best Kinect game. I think that was really fun. You know, it was Pet Muppets and Sesame Street.
That Sesame Street one. I can't remember what I used to play in Kinect a lot though. It was quite, I don't know. Hello, Oni boy, how are you going? Yeah. So yeah, it was. I don't know. I loved the whole Kinect. My favorite game with this whole move thing, like this has turned into a move conversation now, because I guess the like peripherals and all that, it kind of ties into our conversation about rail shooters.
The rail shooter.
Yeah.
Well, the rail, as we said before, that was the first peripheral you got was the gun.
Yeah.
That was before you got the wheel or the running pad. Or any of that stuff, it was always the gun, which begat stuff like the Move and Kinect and all these other crazy peripherals that come out nowadays.
So the Kinect, I really enjoyed Kinect bowling because I didn't have this feeling that I was going to throw a controller at my screen. That was always the worst thing about Wii bowling and all that. I was because the natural motion of bowling is you hold a thing, you swing it, and you let go and throw it straight at the TV. Where in Kinect bowling, you let go and the Kinect bowling was so precise that you could actually twist your arm or your hand as you kind of like was throwing it, and it would actually put spin on the ball. Like it was so good at like I can't believe that people didn't use it as much. I mean, it was tiresome and boring after a period of time, but it was actually like a way beyond its time. Kinect. But my favorite game on those peripherals, and I guess it's a kind of a rail shooter in some ways, was Frisbee Golf on the PlayStation 3. I played hours of Frisbee Golf.
No, yeah, I can see the rail shooters there, yeah.
Because it was a bit of a rail shooter because you didn't walk between Frisbees. It would just rail shoot you straight up to the next Frisbee or whatnot, you know? Then you'd have a shot. Kinect Super Hero Fighter was really fun. You need to do Power Rangers hang on, I can't see. There's a heart in the way. Hang on, I'll type something. Okay. You need to do Power Ranger poses to do attacks. Okay. Kinect Super Fighter. Did you ever play Kinect Super
Fighter? I'm taking another one.
No, I never played that one either.
No. Yeah, no. Like, again, my Kinect experience is very low. It's pretty much Kinect Adventures, Once Upon a Monster. That may be it.
Did Just Dance come out? Like, I could see you being a Just Dance guy.
Oh, I've done Just Dance, but I've done the Wii Just Dance.
Does it have a camera, or how does it work out if you're dancing correctly?
With the controller placement.
Oh, so you strap one on your leg or something?
Not with that, or not the one I played.
Okay. Because I don't know. Anyway, what else has been happening on your life? I wanted to talk a little bit about Core Keeper, because that game, I've been playing a bit of that game.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with rail shooters, but I thought we'd just segue into that for a little bit.
Go for it, yeah.
So Core Keeper is basically in between Minecraft and Terraria. It's a multiplayer game, but what makes this game actually quite good and why I think it's going to be massive is because it plays really, really well as a one-player game, but then you can also add all your friends in. So it's one of those, you know how Minecraft is kind of fun by yourself and it's better with friends. I think if you got to make a multiplayer game, you got to make it fun first for one player, and then it's better with your friends. So
absolutely, yeah.
So Core Keeper is like, the idea of it,
what are you playing on? What's the you said you playing this on Xbox?
Yeah, Xbox is on Game Pass at the moment. So I've been wanting to trial it out, and I thought I'll give it a try before I buy it. If I plan to buy it for the Steam Deck eventually, obviously.
Oh. How's the Steam Deck doing?
Yeah,
How's the Steam Deck?
No, we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll dedicate the rest of the show to the Steam Deck in a minute.
Right. Yeah.
But Core Keeper is, in Terraria. Have you played any Terraria at all?
I remember I downloaded it. That was the one I didn't play when we did our mining episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you played obviously Minecraft and you dig blocks and stuff like that. Well, this is set. I've only played it for like an hour or so, but you don't have the option of going up and down, but it's in a 3D third person view. Minecraft basically, and you mine the blocks and that around you, and it's kind of almost easier than Minecraft because you don't have that 3D kind of thing. So it's a lot more casual than Minecraft, but it's got a very, very similar inventory and mining mechanics. Like if you played Minecraft for 5 seconds, you'll pick this up in like 6 seconds. It's like once you learn the Minecraft way of doing things, it's pretty much they've copied everything you do in Minecraft and they've just put it in this. And I don't mind that because it makes it easy for people to like learn. You're pressing the same buttons, you're doing the same things, and I think that's an easy way to get into a game. And you start near this big core, and I think I have to feed it crystals or something or protect it or whatever. But I haven't worked that much out yet. I've just gone around mining and collecting some stuff and making some traps so the big bad enemies don't come and kill me. And there's like these blob things. And yeah, I think it's, especially like if your niece is about or something, pop that one on for 5 minutes. I think it'll be a fun little multiplayer game to play.
Nice.
Yeah. So what about you? What have you been playing lately?
Well, I was gonna pick up that game Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the game, but I held off on that. I decided to try Cyberpunk 2077, give it another go.
Oh, I'm thinking about doing that also myself.
Well, and like an idiot, I actually re-got it, but this time I got the PS5 version because I figured now it'll work. And plus, it has Phantom Liberty side on it. And so far, like getting back into it, I still enjoy. It's a very competent game. Definitely looks a lot better, or runs. I should say it runs a lot better. So like, there was no cruddy slowdown. It was solid 60 frames. But and of course, I do like how they put the haptic feedback on the triggers.
Oh,
that's cool.
I love
yeah. So that makes me happy. I've got to try that out. Other than that, though, I'm actually on my channel. I just sent out a poll because I'm thinking of doing a new Duke Nukem run, and I'm going to do it for one of the consoles. I'm either going to do the N64 version, the PS1 version, or the Sega Saturn version.
Whoa! We already decided that you're going to play Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart.
Oh no! Well, no. This is because I've always kept the Duke Nukem levels going because I actually got quite a niche going for that.
Yeah.
But honestly, a lot of these Steam Workshop levels, they're just like brutally hard, like so hard. Like no weapons, no ammo, no supplies, lots of aliens. You don't know where you're going. Yeah, hey, credit to the people making these levels. I don't think I ever could like really comprehend actually building one of these levels in the Build 3D engine. But yeah, I think I need to go back to basics. Speaking of Ratchet and Clank, though, I was going through my save data on my PS3, and I came across my entire Ratchet and Clank trilogy save data on my PS3, and because I was looking at the times, like the dates of when was the last time I played it, and it almost exactly 10 years to the date. I think I was only like a week or two off. It was back in 2014.
Well, you best have. Your birthday's coming up. It's time to treat yourself to some new Ratchet and Clank.
New Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah. I mean, next week we'll do a show, or next fortnight we'll do a show, and then I'm going to be off for a couple of weeks traveling the world doing game conventions. So
Well, I do have a vacation coming up.
Yeah,
I could have that be my vacation
what I'm saying,
game.
I'll come back and you're going to tell me your synopsis on Ratchet and Clank and how you've, yeah.
I will make this. I will make this promise to you, the anything gaming community. I don't know if I'll be able to beat it because I don't know how long the game is or how
It's
much
about
it
6
entails.
hours.
But I will. That will be my vacation, my fall 2024 vacation game.
Okay.
I think what was it last year? I think last year. Well, no, this year my February one was Dead Space. That was my vacation game, or the last vacation I had, which was a good one.
Yeah, right. Oh, you will. I think you'll be addicted to it. It's so much fun. I loved playing.
My favorite Ratchet and Clank game is Commando. It's the second one. Everyone likes the third one, but I always like the second one better.
I just liked everything about this one. It's my favorite one.
Well, another thing too, I should also a new update to the entire game. It's not really so much the game collection, but I did acquire a new television because my old television was terrible.
Oh, what?
4K?
20K?
No. It's 4K, but I mean, it's a Samsung. I don't know the exact model number, but it's 55 inches. My old TV was 48 inches, so it's a little bit bigger.
Oh, wait! Every time you get a new TV and it's like a little bit bigger, and all of a sudden you're like,
it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my
god! I had to move the
entertainment
a little for that.
Yeah. Yeah, so and then you end up with an 80-inch TV, and you've got to move. You've just got to buy a new house, or because the room's not big enough. Yeah,
but it looks so cool. I was playing Skyrim on this thing, and I was like, "Wow, this looks good." And it's Skyrim. You know, I mean, it's like a 13-year-old game, and it looks gorgeous. I was like, "All right, I like this."
Yeah, no, I agree. Omniboy wants to play Bakura. It looks so fun. Tell me about this game. Why do people want to play it? I don't even know what it is.
Oh, Black Myth. Honestly, okay. I heard it's okay. Imagine Souls-like gameplay, but I mean Souls-like. No. I mean like Souls-like gameplay as like the actual nuts and bolts fighting dudes. As far as like experience, difficulty, like how your character levels up and stuff like that. That's not like Souls-like at all. This is just what I've heard of the game. You know what I mean? So because of that, people don't consider it a true Souls-like game. Because it does some stuff different.
Okay.
That's what kind of stopped me from trying to. I'm not the biggest Souls fan. I tried Elden Ring. I can't do it.
I haven't even bought that. Did you ever play Bloodborne?
No. And once again, because I heard it's like Souls. Oof.
Yeah.
The only Souls-like game I'll actually play is Zelda 2. And that was Souls-like before Souls-like was Souls-like. Yeah, but this Black Myth game, I mean, it's getting it got decent, solid like B plus official reviews, but the user reviews are off the hook. People are liking the game a lot, and there's a lot of buzz about it. So I will give it a try. You know, somewhere down the road. As we mentioned before, my birthday is coming up. I'm kind of letting out some feelers if someone wants to pick it up for me for my birthday. But there is one bad thing I heard about it.
What?
This could be. This ain't confirmed, but my brother told me this. I guess like the physical copy of Black Myth Wukong is not the physical copy. It's still just a code to download the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I bought the physical copy. I'm just waiting for the release of the Tomb Raider trilogy. My game's coming up. Is that and Astro Boy, or whatever it is on PlayStation 5? You know, the demo game that they gave us on PlayStation 5. They made a full game. I'm really excited for that. I hope it has like Easter eggs similar to the demo version where you could go and unlock all the PlayStation.
I gotta give it I really didn't play too much of the Playroom, but I gotta give a shout out to my niece because she just played that game straight from for like 3 hours on my console. Got me a bunch of trophies.
Did you? The Playroom was so fantastic because you could unlock a PlayStation 1 and then you'd play like bad guys from this dinosaur that was in the PlayStation 1. You'd take him on in PlayStation 1 graphics. And then you go and you'd play little snippets of old games that they had after you unlock different consoles. So it was yeah.
One thing I did play, it came out on PlayStation. This is right now my favorite thing on PlayStation Plus Premium. The Time Splitters trilogy.
Okay.
They actually re-released that. Oh no, that was like that game was it was the first PS2 game like I got into. Wasn't the first one I got because it was just hard enough to get a PlayStation 2 back in the game, much less the games. But it was the reason why I wanted a PlayStation 2 when it was first announced, because it was made by the people who made GoldenEye. Looking back, it's a little underwhelming, but it was a hot game.
Don't you hate it when you go back to these games and they're like, oh, I really like this back. Maybe I should have just kept that memory because I'm not really loving it as much now.
No, Time Splitters 2 and 3 hold up, but yeah, Time Splitters 1's a little rough. We could do an episode on that one time. Just games that like you love at one point, but you go back to and it's like,
oh, why did we?
Yeah, this is some problems now. This did not age very well.
I would. GoldenEye is the one that I cannot believe that Nintendo didn't let them swap the controls around, or whoever did that. Why would they come out with the original Nintendo inverted controls that you could not alter? That just
like I understand for curious reasons, but at the same, why not have both? Why not have one for the dude that does want to play it? Because you Nintendo
Xbox did that. Xbox did.
Oh yeah, they did it well.
See, I don't know if it was an Xbox decision because Xbox owns Raw or Rare, and then so they put like the good version on Xbox and then just put the shit version on Nintendo.
Well, that's the thing too, because it tracks the purists, the people that want to play that copy of Gold, like the way nature intended, 1997. Or you can play the new like one that they cleaned up on the Xbox. So it's cool that you got both options. You just need both options to play both options.
Yeah, it's true. But that was one that really made it hard for me to play through. I didn't enjoy that one so much. Yeah. What else did we? And what news did you have this week? You had some big news.
It's not big news. No, I feel bad because games seem to be more cutthroat than ever as far as releasing these games. You're a game developer, so I'm sure I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. But if anyone was looking forward for a long lifespan of the new PlayStation and PC release, Conquered, do not expect that. I guess the game's going offline soon, like within the week. It was released to somewhat mediocre reviews. It's a hero class based shooter, similar to Overwatch. So I've never gotten into these games, so I really have no stance to judge the game on how it plays. But it can't be. The fact of the matter is, it's being pulled because they got to work on it. And which is odd, just the way they say that, like we need to de-release the game so we can work on it and make it better.
You can't. It's just gross. I think Cyberpunk did it better, where they went through and they worked with the fans. It's going to be one of the biggest like games that comes back. That's the way that they've worked with Cyberpunk fans to make that game really, really good. And No Man's Sky did it too. Like they should have done that.
No Man's Sky did that. I think No Man's Sky set the template for really, really, really horrible release, but gradually builds up. Like the game fixes it, and now it's a beloved game.
Yeah.
Now people love No Man's Sky. But it had to get there. So, but those games never went offline. First off, Cyberpunk is just you don't really. That's just on its own. You just need but No Man's Sky kind of required a little bit more input, but it was able to get there, but they never took it off. It's not like you couldn't get this. They're taking off like the store and everything.
Yeah.
Like with Conquer, you won't be able to buy it. It's solid. I went to Walmart the other day. They got copies of it, which isn't a good sign that they got copies of it.
Yeah. People come down, get home, download it. Because obviously that's just a copy, so you can put it in and download it. You go to download. Oh my god!
Well, what was I looking? Well, I was looking for the physical copy of Black Myth Wukong, and I didn't see it there. I think that might be only GameStop or something. But once again, it's not really physical, so who gives a crap? I might as well just download it straight up.
Yeah.
I definitely got to think about getting a old solid state hard drive for everything I own, really. Like my computer, my PlayStation, my Xbox. I should probably even upgrade my Switch with a better card.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't go down the path of mentioning the Minecraft movie trailer.
Well, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Jack Black is getting a little too overexposed in the video game world?
Well, apparently Jack Black was in the first Nintendo commercial for America.
He was in the Atari. It was for Pitfall.
Okay, so he was in that. So he was in that.
So he's grandfathered in and all that. Yeah. But I don't know. It just seems like he's jumping around a lot to a lot of these franchises, like Minecraft, Mario,
Borderlands. Every video game that comes to movie is Jack Black. We'll just go and see if Jack Black can do it first, and then we'll think about releasing the movie.
And of course, Jack Black's also been in video games with Brutal Legend. He's the main voice in that. So definitely, I feel bad for him. I feel like he's like working his ass off for video games right now.
I don't understand how he's supposedly playing Steve, and I never thought Steve was like 50. You know what I mean?
Right. If it was Jack Black, if it was School of Rock Jack Black, that'd be different.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I don't mind the guy. I think he does some good stuff in movies, but I'm just really confused on their choice there.
Me too. No, yeah. I mean, it's for name recognition. I think it'll be all right. I mean, it sucks about the Borderlands movie. Yeah, that would have been good if that was better. But because even when it's something like that, I don't like seeing bad video game adaptations of everything, because that makes all the other people go, "Oh, see, I told you so." Video game, anytime television movies, it sucks and it shouldn't exist. It makes the whole thing bad.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And maybe they should stay more away from movies. Right now, video games are having more success with the limited series and the TV shows.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Last of Us, Fallout. I even heard Twisted Metal wasn't bad. I heard it didn't feel like Twisted Metal was a show, but it's
a bit slow. I I
heard it's not super great, but it's a watch. It's something.
Okay.
I heard.
But I want to see the new Tomb Raider one. I think it's coming to Netflix. It's been in development for a long time. I'm interested to see where that goes. We got a comment here of it's just because people like him, it's easy to sell to people.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got that. Who doesn't like Jack Black?
Yeah, I mean I like him. I think everyone likes him, but he's just a bit of a guy that's. Did you play the Call of Duty beta that came out? If you pre-ordered the game,
I did. But don't worry, I did not. But I do have my on-field journalist, my brother, who downloaded the beta. I did watch. I actually watched a good chunk of it because I was talking to him while I was playing, and he was like, "Oh, how is it?" Like all that. For what I've seen, it looks good. He's enjoying it, which is good. For the record, this is the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
Version that we're playing. I'm trying to get him to play the PC version because I was like, dude, you master the controller now. Now it's time to try mouse and keyboard on it.
Time to grow up.
He doesn't know if he can go that. Yeah, yeah. He doesn't know if he could do that. I don't blame him. It's a leap.
Yeah.
Did you end up giving it a go?
No, I haven't. I've just heard that they've made some new maps. They're just not recycling the same 12 maps that they've done for the last 6 games.
See, here's the thing. If I were to play a Call of Duty game, it would be single player. I would want to play the single player of it. I don't think I would even want to touch multiplayer at all with Call of Duty. So, and Call of Duty can pull out good single players. They have before, so I hope they do it this time.
Yeah. I saw Spyro is getting a sequel potentially. There's a lot of speculation that because Toys for Bob left. Did Toys for Bob leave the whole, where Xbox bought out Activision? Did Toys for Bob leave in that? Because Toys for Bob was owned by Activision. They were working on the Call of Duty stuff. And then all of a sudden, Toys for Bob, I think, may have left that part of Activision, or even maybe Xbox said, "Hey, go back to Spyro. Spyro was something fantastic."
Was this the same company that did Skylanders?
I
Because I
think,
know there's a Skylanders Spyro connection.
yeah.
They should kind of joined a little bit there. Like I know that, so I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know, but Toys for Bob, I'm kind of hoping they do a Spyro. I that was like one of my favoriteest games. I there was nothing like Spyro, was there?
That was the era where Mario 64 kind of showed the way of a decent 3D style, and they just exploded. And I think for a while Spyro was probably the best one on the PlayStation because Crash Bandicoot was more down the hall,
Yeah.
so it really didn't feel like a 3D. And Escape hadn't come out yet, so I'm pretty sure Spyro. I think Spyro 2 was out before Escape was out.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spyro kind of filled that void. Like, oh, you don't have a 64, but you need a Mario. Here's Spyro, and it was great. It was a good game.
Yeah. I just enjoyed Spyro because it was trying to figure out how to get those gems. Or you know what I mean? Like you could see it up the top there, and you were looking. Must be a way to get it. It was all about finding the little hidden paths and the little ways to get them all. Where it was one of those games. I don't think many games do that enough these days, where they'll show you what you want to get, but then you have to figure out how it's gettable. Yeah,
That always remind me of the Prince of Persia series, the 3D one,
they did it.
where you enter a room and the camera would go to where you need to go,
but you had to figure
and then
it out.
Back to you. So now you know where you need to go. How do you do it?
Yeah. I like that whole concept in a game. It makes it kind of missing that. We're missing that now. Now everyone's just handheld. Oh, okay, open this door. Now go through that door. Okay.
Well, what do you think about the yellow paint?
Oh, I hate yellow paint. Why do we
hate yellow paint?
Yeah.
I think a lot of games give you the option to turn off yellow paint.
Yeah, but then I don't know. You need sometimes you need a little bit of a lead because
just a little yellow paint. Not really yellow paint, more like yellow.
maybe not on every ledge. I like it when say that there's 5 ledges I've got to jump up. Maybe every 5th ledge I've got some yellow paint just to lead me a little bit of leading. But when everything's yellow, or I know that they're all handholds, it's just too much for me. I mean,
there needs to be a good yellow paint balance.
Yeah, I think maybe just put some back in the can. I don't know.
Save the paint.
Yeah.
Might need to use this paint to crosswalk or something. Come on.
Okay, so you go to this cliff face that hasn't been discovered ever before, but there's yellow paint going all the way up there. Yeah, come on, guys. It's too much.
The Sherpers back in 2000 BC were playing with mustard, and it just stained everywhere. It stained everywhere where you could grab by complete coincidence.
I mean, sometimes it makes sense though. Like, say that you've got to climb up a truck that's hanging off a cliff, and it might have some yellow paint because that's what they mark them with, so truck drivers can get into their trucks carefully.
Yeah.
I'm
kind of with you, Yeah, I'm kind of with you. On one hand, it does take you out of the game, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I played plenty of 3D adventure games back in the day. Man, I wish they had yellow paint. Some of them were just too up. You did not know where to go or what to have.
Yeah, Tomb Raider was bad back. Remember the original Tomb Raiders, and you didn't mind. You wouldn't mind a few leads. The amount of times I'd jump off. Do you think we go that way or that way? Oh, we'll try and jump. Now you have to redo that whole section again just to kind of get get back to there so you can try jumping the other way. And it really, you're meant to go the first way, but you just didn't jump correctly and you missed the jump. Yeah, and so if you just knew you were going to that, in those situations where you've got to choose a path, maybe the yellow paint's a bit of a necessary, but I think some games over yellow. That we're just leading people too far. So
too much yellow.
But yeah. Oh well. I think we're just about out of yellow paint for this episode as well. So
I know, yeah, we talked about rail shooters and yellow paint.
Yeah.
That's what that was the two
Yeah.
it. But no, that's honestly just with the rail shooters, love them. Quick shout out to Carnival before we close this out. One of my favorite rail shooters. I did not want to forget. I didn't want to forget to mention that because that's one of my favorites because it had shotgun and a lot of games back then didn't have one.
Oh, yeah.
As far as yellow paint goes, you know, I like to think it's just mustard, and some people just like too much of it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. All right, see you guys later. Talk to you next